Hey guys, welcome to the Top Percentile. My name is Anay Dave. I scored a 99.99 percentile in CET 2020. There's around 34 days left for CET 24, and this is the most important time where you kind of focus on how to improve your mock scores. As we've said time and time again, mocks are only a stepping stone to making sure that you're doing better and to reach a better position in your final attempt. Mocks are in no way a determinant of what you're going to score on the last day. So even if you're at a 140 right now, you still have ways to go. But if you're at a 140, 130, 120, 90, 60, it doesn't matter. Mock analysis is your key to up that score. Even the ones who are scoring 140 right now, you need to go for the 150s. We used to do that. When I used to take mocks, I used to have a curiosity to increase each and every mark. I used to find every nook and corner where I could increase or decrease maybe 10 seconds of, the 10 seconds of solving time in one question. Do that for 10 questions, and I can attempt 100 seconds of something else, right? So that's kind of how it works. You have to keep having that curiosity to make sure you can do better and find better ways of solving questions, right? Now, as a side note, before I get into this topic, a lot of you had reached out कि आपको mentoring का separate program चाहिए. This is actually one of the main reasons why the Top Percentile has been so successful over the past 3 years. We've had around 40 students get into JBIMS, and that's a record for all institutes. That's a really high number of students. In fact, last year we had 17. So that means more than 10% of the JBIMS 25 batch is from the top percentile. So one of the reasons why I think we've been so successful is the mentoring course that we run. And a lot of you requested for that as a standalone course, and we've done that. We have it on our website. So if you head on to our website, thetoppercentile.co.in, link in the description, you'll find two new packages. One is the mentoring, one-on-one and personal mentoring, and there is a mentoring program with mocks. These are test funda mocks because we feel those are the two main buckets that you should fall in if you are currently trying to look for mentoring. So now with 4 weeks left, you'll get 4 weeks of mocks, you'll get 4 weeks of personal mentoring, you'll have, 4 weeks of group mentoring and two one-on-one sessions with current JBMS students, which I think is really helpful. You always want to have a connect with someone in JBIMS. If you can speak to them, tell them your problems and tell them where you are getting stuck, that solves 90% of the problems that you have in the CET prep, right? But we are here. We're going to answer your questions on how to analyze mocks. This is one of the most requested videos. It is in fact the most watched video on our YouTube channel as well, where we did a 2-hour analysis of how to analyze mocks. Tongue twister right there, but this is the updated version of the same. And we want to kind of go through exactly how you should be looking at mocks and how you should kind of work through this entire prep. So I'm going to share my screen. It's a very different setting today. I'm not standing, I'm sitting and I'm talking to you on a different screen. So I have another screen in front of me and I'm just going to explain how you should go about this. So I'm just going to firstly, just another side note, all links of what I'm showing will be in the description. Everything that I can make public, I'm going to make public and send to you. So the links to find our socials, the top percentile, if you want to reach out to me, my socials, the sheets that I'm referring to, everything is in the description. Our website is in the description. Please head down there. Comments I'm personally reading. So please ask your questions. I'll be more than happy to make 10 more videos on this question on this topic if you want me to. So please reach out and let me know. And please do not request for edit access on these because I don't want you to edit these sheets. These are sheets that I've edited. You can always click on File, make a copy on your personal account, and then use it the way you want. But please do not request edit access. We will not be granting it. You must have seen if you're one of the people who asked us, one of the probably 1,000 people who asked us for edit access in the earlier mock analysis sheet that Shreekanth made. So just kind of putting it out there. Let's make sure of that, right? One last thing I want to mention, if you've not watched the two previous videos that we made, there is one video which is Shreekanth's mock analysis. This builds up on top of that. So his mock analysis is more related to questions and sections and where you should work. My mock analysis is more based on scores and accuracy and marks per minute and kind of how to tune your mind to understand better where you should be working. So I am more of a quantitative brain, so I like putting it onto Excel. I like seeing things and seeing how they react over time, how they change over time. So this is building on Shreekanth's video. I'll be putting his video in the description as well. So another video that I mentioned, which is a 39-day plan to CET. I think that is also one of our recently most watched videos. So if you've not seen it, link is in the description. You need to watch it and you need to start planning based on exactly what I've said there. So please make sure कि आप वो देख लो, and then you come to this video and watch it from now, right? Shreekanth has also made a video on how to go from 110 to 140, also very useful. So please keep these 3 videos in mind when you're referring to any of the things that I mentioned here. But everything that we make is on top of the earlier videos that we made. So highly recommend you to subscribe and to stay tuned to all our channels. Instagram, Telegram, YouTube, everything, right? We have a lot of things coming up. Please stay tuned, and we're here to help you out here. 33, 32 days left for CET based on when you're watching this. Maybe there's 20 days left, but this is absolutely essential that you finish this video till the end. Please don't stop in the middle and don't give up. This hard work and what you put in right now is what gets you into JBIMS. Again, we're always repping our university. We always love where we come from. So we are always wearing the t-shirt to motivate all of you. So if you've noticed, we're always trying to wear the college's name and shine it proudly whenever you can, right? So now to the other screen, I'll just share my screen. We'll see how to go about this and how to go about this. But this is kind of what I had done. So now when I initially started working, this looks like a lot because as I said, I've taken a lot of mocks. I started taking mocks in the October of 2019, and CET happened on the 13th and 14th, sorry, 14th and 15th of March. Those are the 2 dates that I had it at. This year, it's 9th and 10th of March as of now. Probably will change. I cannot say that for sure, but you never know what's happening. So that's how it goes. Now, the reason I kind of did this was because what I wanted to show, what I wanted to kind of focus on is that if I, for example, zoom out, if I, for example, just zoom out to 50%, I have color coded things in a way that will tell me what is the best, what is my best section, what is my weakest section, what should I work on. So if you look at the first half, like if I just focus on this area, there are lots of yellows in my most of it are in VRC and quants. Logical is kind of still yellow, and greens are an abstract. So I knew that my abstract was the strongest, followed by the other things, right? So I knew that that's how I'm what I'm tackling, and what I need to work on was what was in yellow. My goal was to make it very obvious as to what I was lacking in and what I was strong in, and that decides where I'm going to go. And then I used to write the what pattern I'd use. So then I kind of worked towards a pattern which used to be visual, verbal, easy logical, quants, and then puzzles, right? So that's kind of the pattern that I followed. You have to decide based on what you did, but if you notice, the greens and the yellows are in that order. Highest greens in visual, then I had more greens towards verbals, and I had in the verbal section, I had more greens and lesser yellows rather. And then I had more greens in logical. So I started with easy logical because that's where you score a higher number of questions, higher amount of marks in a short amount of time, and then quants, and then puzzles, which takes a lot longer to solve, right? So that's kind of how I broke about it. So my goal when I made this Excel was to figure out very easily, um, like in a very colorful way, very easily depicted with data analysis and interpretation of what I'm good at, what I'm bad at. So I want you to do the same. Now, again, I'm going to make this public. I've already made this public actually in the first attempt itself. So the first year of TTP as well. So you can see what I was scoring there. I have nothing to hide here. I ended up scoring a 99.99 percentile score of 149 and an All India rank of 9. So that's where I landed on the 14th of March, first slot, first day. But yeah, that's kind of where it is. But I just want you to focus on how this model was made, right? Now, this is the first sheet that I want you to look at. The second sheet that I want you to also focus on is the mock plan, right? I want you to also look at a mock plan. There are 33 days left, maybe there are 20 days left. I want you to make this. I want you to figure out where you are taking which mock, what day you're prioritizing for mocks, what day you're prioritizing for studying. So I had so M1 and these orange things were basically my college exams. I was studying engineering when I was preparing for CET, the first attempt. I mean, I took only one attempt. So at that time I was also in college. So it kind of marked exactly where I'll be busy. Like I had M2 exams, so I knew that I won't be taking, but M2 was too close. Like the second midterms were very close to the final one. So still taking mocks on those days. So, I was doing multiple things at the same time. And I want you to make this, right? I want you to make this. So this is a countdown of how many days are left of the exam. The ones in blue. So now if there are 35 days left, you kind of have to make this till the end. And these are the number of usable days that I have because I'd kind of removed these 10 days or how many of 1 week of exams, and I'd kind of removed those days and assumed that over the last few days I won't be working much. So from here, if you see this is 13, then 14 comes directly here, whereas there is a 14 to 20 here, right? Now, up to you how you do it. And my point is make a plan and write down on which days you're taking mocks. So this is the blue ones are kind of the days I'm taking mocks. And then these are the Sim CETs and SimCATs. So this is, sorry, Sim CETs and the AMM CETs, which are proctored exams that you have with mock providers. So is to make sure that if I have to take one mock on, let's say, the 3rd of March, I would make sure that it's probably I probably took time AMM CET on this day because that was the last day on the window and I wanted to get my score as soon as possible. So I used to take it on the last day of the window. The next day I would probably go and take the Sim CET. But again, I didn't take a mock on that day. So I must have taken, like, you plan it accordingly as to match the window and when you want to take it. Again, this will be made available to you. I want you to make it yourself. Plan out how many mocks you're taking. If you need an analysis, how many mocks I suggest, please watch the video on 39 days plan. I have made a video of, or just go to our Instagram. We have like a very easy post that kind of explains it. There's a reel also that kind of gives a very quick summary of this. So watch it. We explain exactly how many mocks you need to take based on how many, what score you're getting right now. So please make sure you see that. And that's what you need to see. That's kind of, I'm making it as easy as I can for you. Like, I don't think anyone can make it easier than this. बट अगेन आपको कोई भी सवाल रहेगा तो प्लीज़ आप कमेंट्स में डाल दीजिए. अगर आपको इंग्लिश में हिंदी में चाहिए तो प्लीज़ आप बता दीजिए, मैं कर लूँगा. वील फिगर आउट someone who can explain it better than I can in Hindi, but please आप बता दीजिए क्या करना है. We'll be more than happy to help you here, but please ask and speak and communicate to us what you want, right? So again, make a plan of exactly what the next 30 days, 35 days look like, and which days you're taking mocks, which days you're analyzing mocks, which days you're preparing for the next mock, and how you're going about it, right? Very important to do this, super important. Now, I'd also kept a timetable for, this was for my final exam. This is not related. This is computer science. People who know AI, e-commerce, DWMS, data warehouse management, distributed computing. This is completely different. You don't need this. And sectionals, this is another thing that I think is pretty useful. This was kind of how we had, like, each, again, we keep suggesting that you should take sectionals. I had finished, maybe if you can see, the green ones is what I finished, and I'd written the score as well as to what I was scoring in every section or every topic-wise test. And I obviously haven't done too many of them because I took 63 mocks at the end of it. So I kind of switched the focus to passive mocks, and a video on passive mocks is coming up very soon. So stay tuned for that. Passive mocks, if I just show you here, I had mentioned passive, a lot of this, right? So a lot of these mocks were taken passively, and that helped me a lot towards the end of the exam. So very, very important to do this. But yeah, I did not take as many sections, but it's very important to kind of know how many mocks you have, to know how many sectionals you have, how many topic-wise tests you have, and how many you finished, right? So you can plan your day better. So even on this sheet, if you see the start of it, I had made a list of which mocks I had and which series I bought, right? So I had Cedar King, IMS, Time, and Patrick Hill, right? So these are the ones. And now if we had to guide this year, we usually say IMS and Test Funda. And this year we've also come out with our own set of the top percentile mocks, which are curated by the latest set of toppers. So we stand by them because they have made it themselves. We've gone through a rigorous process of testing, speaking to students who've topped the exam, who've put in the same amount of effort in the last 2 years, and they are the ones helping us make this. So we do stand by it. But historically, IMS, Test Funda, Patrick, Time, great mocks to take, no question about it. Patrick D'Souza, as you know, has cracked CD multiple times. IMS also has toppers, so you can't go wrong with them, right? It's up to you who you are kind of looking at and what you're kind of trying to do, right? Now, I have no idea what this is, but cool. Let's just let's just stick to this. Now, again, this sheet, the mock webinar sheet, kind of speaks about the demo plan for mocks, which I've again gone over. This is what you need to make. And then there's a demo mistakes area, which I think Shreekanth has covered better in his video. So I really suggest you to watch Shreekanth's video and figure out how to analyze mocks better there. We have a proper mock analysis sheet for that. Let me just find it and show it to you right now itself, so you kind of get an analysis of what it looks like. Just give me 1 second. I will bring it out. Yep. So it's called TTP, Understanding Mock Analysis. That's what the sheet is called. And this is what it looks like. We have, this is again freely available to you. So he has explained this in depth as to what timetable to use, what your score is, what your possible score is, area of improvements, and every mock, what are you doing wrong. It looks like a lot. When he explains it, it is very easy. Very much recommend you to watch this video as well. My analysis builds on top of this, right? So there are many Excel sheets, but please stay tuned to this. We are going to share a usable model that you can use and something that you can just fill up and it'll load everything for you, right? Now, I'm going to explain this sheet as soon as I can so that you understand best how to use it. And based on this, I'll kind of try to explain the inference, how you should go about it yourself. If you're a TTP student, we'll be having a separate session where you can probably share your Excel sheets with me. I'd be more than happy to take this over one weekend. So if you're a TTP student in the mentoring batch or someone who's in the bigger batch, so please reach out. I'll be more than happy to speak to you. But this is really important that we kind of do this, right? And again, to answer your question on jumbled mocks, mock analysis is really difficult because you don't get to know which section took how much time and how many questions are there. So we've kind of modified the mock paper, the mock analysis sheet to also include questions. So you kind of include 75 questions or 20 questions or 30 questions of some topic or some section, but it's a lot of manual work. So if you're not at a stage where, so most of you are not at a stage where it matters, I would say it's more questions that you need to focus on, not the overall kind of thing. Because if it's jumbled, then this doesn't matter as much as to which section you take. If it's jumbled, it's easy questions first, then difficult. That's the easiest way to go about it. I cannot tell you enough on how good that is, how good that strategy is, and how many students it has worked out for, right? So if it's a jumbled paper, just easy questions first and then keep solving one after the other. इतना ही करना है आपको और कुछ नहीं करना है. So back to the sheet, I just want to quickly explain why this made such a difference for me. But again, simple: number, date, name, which mocks are taken, basic, advanced mocks, or was it some of the take-home sim CETs? What did I score? Now, this was the total score. It is to add up base. Again, you can see the formulas here. You'll be able to see the formulas in your sheet as well. It is to add up these parts of it. These are the two averages. So one was average of all the mocks. So this was the last 6-7 mocks. This is average of all the mocks, right? So it kind of, just to see whether I'm doing better over time, I kind of had that metric, but the blue one is kind of more important. This is more like a running average, the 130 that you see, the green one. So up to you how you want to go about it. This is logical score, visual score, verbal score, quant score. Again, as I said, we had 75, 25, 50, 50 respectively. So we had it very easy in comparison to even analyze total number of attempts and accuracy. So if you see overall, if I see on the 63 mocks that I've taken, I was getting an average score of 132. I used to attempt 170 questions with an accuracy of 77%. In my final paper, I've scored 149, and I know I've attempted around 170 or 180 genuine attempts and 20 flukes. So you can figure out the accuracy and etc. You can guess how much I scored over there. But one thing to note here as well, all of these mocks, these were without tukas. I did not mark flukes. I did not want to. I wanted to know exactly how much I was scoring on merit, because flukes are not something that I want to base my rank on. I want to see how much I can score myself and how I want to go about it, right? So simple ones, columns F to L are very easy. These 3 columns are not super important. I used to just kind of, this is for more analysis when you're not doing well. You want to know how much you're scoring in RCs, DIs, and puzzles. Again, I did this for the first few mocks. I stopped doing it later because I realized it's a waste of time. So I'll just hide these sheets for now because we don't kind of need to go through this. And then I look at the logic, at the sectional part of it, right? So I'm looking at each and every section. I'm looking at the time I took per section, I'm looking at the number of attempts per section, score. TP is a time per attempt. So that's like how many seconds did I take to attempt every question? That's just a simple formula which divides the amount of time in minutes into 60. So I get number of seconds divided by number of attempts. So it's like I took 53 seconds to attempt every question, right? And this automatically used to highlight every time it used to be above 1 minute, because I want to kind of figure out when I'm taking way too long. I can't take more than 1 minute to solve a question, especially in logical, especially throughout the paper, right? It's 200 questions, 150 minutes. Just by attempting 200 questions, if I want to attempt 200 questions, it's 45 seconds per attempt. So anything over 60 is way too much. I did 84 and 1. You can imagine how tough that was. And this was the first IMS Sim CET that I took. It was a shocker. I kid you not, this was a shock. IMS mocks are very difficult. And this came as a shocker. This was the lowest score that I got as well. It was 103. And I was absolutely shocked that I could attempt only 140 questions. How can a paper be so difficult, right? So it took me 84 seconds for every question in logical, with an accuracy of 71%, right? So then I wanted it to be above 70. So anything below 70 was being flagged. Again, my accuracy was pretty good in logical, as you can see. I did see some 55s and 55s. I saw 55, but I'm assuming this is a passive mock for sure. But anything above 70 was what I considered good. And then I was looking at marks per minute. guideline. Marks per minute is really important because it's kind of telling you that if I'm putting 1 minute into solving a question, right? If I'm putting 1 minute into a question, irrespective of which section it is, how many marks am I getting out of it? It's like a return on investment kind of thing. It's a return on time invested. If I put 1 minute, am I getting 1 mark? Am I getting 0.5 marks? What am I really going to do? If I'm getting more than 1 mark, I know that my section and my topic is really strong. Maybe that chapter or that overall section is really good for me based on what average I'm taking. But if I'm not able to do it, if I'm taking 0.5, if I'm getting 0.5 marks per minute, I really need to understand. Maybe I need to cut down the time I'm taking. Maybe I attempt lesser questions there. Or maybe I work on it more and increase my accuracy so that at least in the same amount of time, I'm getting a higher number of marks per minute, right? So this is kind of how you balance your marks and accuracy and how many attempts you can take and what score you're getting. So that's kind of, I always mention this. It's always a game between speed and accuracy. In fact, my mom also used to keep saying this, that it's speed, accuracy, speed, accuracy. That's kind of the only thing that you look at. So looking at times per attempt, the accuracy and the marks per minute, these three are super holistic. Like they just tell you exactly what you need to know for your CET mock prep. So let me go back to the sheet, but super important that you do this. Please make sure that you're doing this for each and every mock. These three metrics are very important. Highlight where your time per attempt is more than 60, highlight where your accuracy is less than 70, and highlight where marks per minute is greater than 1 or less than 7.7, right? So that's 0.8, I think, is where I've highlighted it. So 0.78, 0.78, 0.75 was highlighted, and greens were the 0.1s. Like I'm doing, sorry, were the ones. If I'm getting more than a mark per minute, I've highlighted it in a good way, right? So same thing for visual, VAR, quants. Now you can see the way the coloring helps, right? Even if I just look at the colors, I kind of get a very good feel of what I'm doing good, what I'm doing bad, and where I need to improve. And this kind of helped me understand exactly what I need to work on more, what I need to do better. Combine this with Shreekanth's analysis, you'll understand topically exactly what you need to work on, right? But if you see, the number of greens suddenly improved, and I knew I was improving over time. Over 2-3 months of prep, I was definitely improving and doing better, and I had a very clear analysis of what I need to do on the final day, right? So this is kind of how the sheet works. Now, a couple of other minor points that I've just added to the side. As I mentioned, this side of it is just what strategy I use. So round robin is just the easiest questions first, see as it comes. And I think this was just logical, visual, verbal, and quants as it comes in the paper. I just took it like that. And I just started making notes of what I was doing, right? So I was making sure that I was trying to make sure that when I was, so again, a very tangential note, but super important. Before I used to take a mock, I used to write a goal of what I aim to do in the mock, right? So if I had a thought that, look, I'm going to take visual, verbal, quant, easy logical puzzles, and I'm going to try to finish 100 questions in the first hour, I used to write down that in a paper, and I used to make sure I do that, or I used to make sure that wasn't able to do it at the end of the paper, right? So I used to write a goal, and then at the end of the paper, I used to write down my thoughts. Before the score loaded, I used to write down my thoughts key. Was I able to crack that goal? Was I able to get there? Was I not able to get there? I think this is super important. I will share photos of exactly what I did in a short or on a YouTube reel or Instagram reel so that you can see how I used to write this. But I used to make sure that I was writing this down. It was super important. It was super useful to have a goal for each and every mock and do a post-mortem analysis before you see the score. After you see the score, you are kind of you realize that you feel like your quants went well, but then you see that you've done horribly, and then that changes your entire perception of the mock. So before you write a mock, write down what you aim to do in that mock. After the mock, write down how it went before you see the score. And after you see the score, you can do an in-depth analysis of how it went, right? So what were the things that I was looking at when I was doing that, right? I used to write exactly everything here. So this is like, I'm a lover of data. Like I just love having data guide my next decision, as you can see. So I used to write down how much time it took me for the first 75 questions, how much time it took me for the first 60 questions, next 60 and 50, and last 30. And then I used to split this into first 75, next 75. And then I used to kind of figure out, and based on this, like the reason I do this again, the reason I used to kind of split it up into these two parts, like first 75, next 75, and then first 60, next 60, last 30, was because I realized that in CET, you could kind of gauge very nicely the difficulty of the paper and what score you need to get rank one based on how many questions you can do of the easiest kind in 1 hour or in 75 minutes. Based on that, I used to kind of figure out how much time it's going to take and what score I need to get. For example, if I am taking an IMS mock, I know for sure that I'm only going to be able to score, only going to be able to attempt maybe 60 or 70 questions in the first 1 hour. And then second hour, I'll still attempt only like 40, 50 because they nahi hote, kafi tough hote unke questions usually, right? So I'm not going to take that long. I'm not going to attempt that many questions. And then in the next 30, last 30 minutes, I'll still do like maybe 10 or 15. And that's it. 140 questions, 140 attempts, and I'm done. I can't solve 200 questions in them. But I also know that I, as someone who was scoring well in their mocks, as a topper, if my paper has gone well, other people are doing even worse. So I used to keep that in mind, and I used to be true to myself that देखो मेरा नहीं अच्छा नहीं जा रहा है, तो theirs is going even worse. Make sure that I get the highest accuracy. Maybe my attempts are low, people's are lower, and their accuracy is even lower. I need to beat them in accuracy at a low score of attempts, right? So that's kind of how I go about it. But on the flip side, if I was able to attempt 100 questions in the first 60 minutes, I know that everyone's doing really well because those 100 questions are solvable by everyone else, and they are also catching on to me. So I need to be even faster in the next hour to make sure I can do maybe 180 to 190 questions. So that's why this analysis is really useful and kind of internalized this logic of dividing the question into dividing the paper into first 75 questions and the next 75 questions. And then I used to divide the other, like I just used to write down first 60 questions, next 60, next 30, next last 30, right? Now, no exact science in this. These are very random numbers. Maybe I did 80 questions and I wrote for 75. It doesn't matter. It's just a very rough estimate. It's just a very rough estimate, but it kind of guides you to how to go about it, right? It kind of guides you to how to understand your mocks better. So if you see here, if I just show you, basically this mock, I attempted 103 questions in the first 75 minutes, where 87 were done in the first 60. So this mock was really well, went really well for me. So I'm sure if I scroll to the left side, there'll be a lot of greens as well, right? So I know that at least something went well, or maybe my accuracy is really bad. So based on that, I kind of need to figure out, let me just highlight the row so it's easier. Again, I've not seen this in a very long time, so maybe I'm completely wrong. But yep, there you go. So horrible score. Attempts were high because I could do 150 attempts and there was a 189 attempts before that. I don't know if I'm seeing the right row, but let me just check that. Yeah, turns out I am. But point is, my accuracy is pretty low in comparison, and that's what matters more, right? I was not. Oh, this is the thing. This is where it matters. My bad. So I did 103 in the first 75 minutes, but in the next 75, I did only 47. I'm doing 103 and 75, and the next 47, I'm doing 47. Next 75, I'm doing 47 questions. That is a horrible rate of solving questions. So obviously my score was lower because I could not attempt enough questions in the next 75 minutes. And that's when I learned that I need to make sure that I'm pushing through and through. I can't stop pushing at one point and think, okay, I've done 103 in the first 75. I'm good. I'm done for the rest of the paper. I am not. I have to keep at it. I have to keep solving more and more questions and making sure that I do more. I think if I remember correctly, there's a puzzle that I got stuck on and I wasted time here. So that's kind of where I got stuck. But if you notice, in the first 75 minutes, I'm usually doing around 80 to 90 questions, and that's kind of where I'm looking at. Sometimes it's gone to 100, 107, and then 121 somehow. Again, no question about this. I don't know how this happened. I think this is a time question, which is really easy. I found this paper very easy this one time that I took it. Let's see. Yeah, time. I scored a 166. I have no idea how that happened. With an 83% accuracy, I attempted 200 questions without any flukes. So it's just, there's a lot of fluctuation. You don't have to look at one thing, but overall, on average, you kind of need to understand how it's flowing. Same analysis for this. So on average, if I just look at the average column here, on average, I was attempting 77 questions in the first hour. On average, I was attempting 66 questions in the second hour, 65 questions in the second hour, and on average, 25 questions in the third. So it's 76, 66, and 25. That's kind of how it went about. And that's what you need to do as well. And then based on the final day, on how much I can do the first 1 hour, I used to realize what kind of paper is it? What score am I looking at? What did rank one score? What can I get? Where should I be to get rank one, right? That's how this analysis works. And I know this is very long drawn out, a lot of data, and maybe you don't have this data as yet, but it's super important that if you're gunning for rank one and if you want to be in JBIMS, you make sure you do this. As I said, again, to summarize, the more the greens, the stronger your section is. For jumble papers, I would say still do it for a few. Don't do it for all of them. Do it for the recent 5, 10 that you've taken. You'll get the most analysis even from 10 mocks. It doesn't matter, right? I have taken 63 mocks, so I have a lot of data. Even if you do 30 mocks, that's going to be more than enough. But that's kind of how I want you to go about it, right? So to summarize, make a mock plan for the next 35 days, make a mock plan for how many ever days you have, start writing down how many mocks, which mock providers you have, how many you've taken, how many you've not taken. The greens were the mocks I took. The orange or whatever that color is are the mocks I took passively. I think that's kind of how I've done it. I think the white ones are the ones I didn't take. I'm not sure of the gray ones. I think I decided to not take seating mocks towards the end and focus more on these because I found them to be more quality. So that's kind of how it went about. How I went about it. Then I used to kind of just keep adding the sectional ones as well. So do this, and then start building on this, right? Start building on your mock scores, see where you're scoring. Again, everything's available in the description. Just start filling it up and then use this, what Shreekanth has shared, to make sure that you are doing better in what you're working on, right? So every topic wise, that's when it helps. And now, just to summarize the last thing, this is the Excel sheet that I'll be sharing with you. This is the one that you need to use. This is what our students are using to fill things up. So it's like the red columns are what is auto-calculated. If you see, there's a formula everywhere in the red one. So do not touch the red columns. This is an average formula. So what I want you to do is click on this, click on insert. So it adds one row to this and kind of puts the formulas directly, right? It kind of puts all the formulas there. I want you to fill random numbers here. So if I say 75 questions in logical, I attempted, let's say 75, I had a great day. I got right 65 and I took around 50 minutes to do it. So see, it is automatically calculated accuracy. It is automatically calculated how many your time per attempt. It is calculated your marks per minute, and it's everything. And now this is automatically whatever we had here is a summary here. So this is score 65 score, accuracy of 87%, and marks per minute of 1.3. So it kind of fills it up, right? That's the beauty of the sheet. I move on. I move on to the the abstract. So there are around somehow, maybe I got 15 questions from this. I attempted all 15, scored 15, great. But I took 30 minutes to do it, right? So I did a really bad time, but I got all 15 right. So my accuracy is great, 100%, but I've taken way too long. So that's been highlighted in green, right? That's kind of that's how you visually understand how this goes, right? And that's what I really want you to do. But stick to this. We are going to give you the sheet now. I've already solved 75 and 15, so that's 90 questions done. Let's say there are 60 here. My quants wasn't good, so I attempted only 30 questions. I got a score of 10. My accuracy is also low, but I took only 10 minutes to do this, right? So I want you to just I want to just highlight how it looks over there in that case. So then I've taken a very good time per attempt because I've taken literally, this one I've kept in minutes. Just change it to seconds if you want, multiply each and everything by 60. Took me 0.3 minutes to figure out, basically to solve every question. I have a horrible accuracy of 33%, but I have a marks per minute of 1, right? And then last, obviously, now there are 50 questions left. I attempted all 50 because verbal, I love attempting things. I am not very good at it, so I got 35 marks. Decently good at it, but I want to go for the 80% accuracy, so not great. And I took, let's say, I don't know how much time. I don't know, I've not added up the times, but let's say I took 50 minutes for this, right? So again, 0.7 marks per minute, 70% accuracy, and it took me 1 minute to attempt per question, right? Now, when I go to the front of this, when I go to the start of this, when I go back to the front of the Excel sheet, all of this should be filled up automatically. I scored 125, and this should tell you exactly where you're getting it wrong and where you're getting it right, correct? I'll add I'll add a kind of thing over here to add total number of questions in the accuracy. So you'll see 2 new columns on the right side of this saying accuracy and total number of questions so that you understand exactly where you got it wrong. But if you see, this is very easy to look at. I have got 87% and 87% accuracy in logical, 100% accuracy in abstract, 33% accuracy in quants, and 70% in VARC. But marks per minute wise, I'll do a different analysis and kind of see where I'm at. But again, in this case as well, I want to figure out what I can do better. So I zoom out of the sheet. I zoom out till a point where I can't see the numbers and I only see colors, and figure out what is green, what is yellow. And then I work on the yellow parts. I work on making that better. So that's kind of how you go about it, right? This is the best way this is the easiest. This is, I don't think anyone can condense this into a shorter understanding and an easier way of going about it. You just have to put your data into the sheet. Shreekanth has made a video on topic analysis. Just take it, put it, and make use of this sheet. Please, we'll be more than happy to guide you on any question that you have. If you need one-on-one mentoring, if you need a course, a shortcut course, we have all of that available. As I said time and time again, we are the one-stop, most trusted CET guidance providers right now. So we're very lucky to be there, but we really value this name that we have, and we want to take that forward. So you have all of this available. We are here to help you out. Please drop comments as you'd like. I'll see you in the next one. It's been lovely talking to you. I hope you made it to the end of the video. If you have, I would love to see who you are, and this maybe just drop a comment so I know that you've seen it till the end of this video. You know what? Let's just write something like just say whatever it is. I really don't get it. I'm not that creative. I can't think at the top of my mind. But if you are reading a book or something, if you're watching this, tell me what book you are reading and how you're liking the book so far. I'd love to get some book recommendations for you. The books I try to read are behind me. You can always see them. So if you've reached this point, tell me what book you've read. I'd love to hear about that, and I would know that you watched this video till the end. So my name's Anay Dave. I hope this has been useful to you. I really, really hope this has been useful, because this is everything that we've been working on. This is a lot of data, a lot of things that we've learned over the last 3 years. We've learned and tried to make sure that you can do this better. So that's the entire mock analysis masterclass, if you will, in maybe 30 minutes. I don't know how long I've spoken. I have a habit of speaking too long, but yep, that's that for you. I hope this has been useful. Please share this video with the people who you think it's going to be useful for. As I said, drop comments, tell me your best books, tell me what you've been up to. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know if this is useful. I really care about the feedback you give. So please let me know if this has been useful. If you want me to answer other questions, comments are the place. You can reach out to me on Instagram, LinkedIn, anywhere is fine. But yeah, my name is Anay Dave. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.